What do you see as a sort of large macro trend towards some sort of hope in the middle of all that?
Oh, there are no trends toward hope. No, I'm kidding. A couple things.
Just like you New York Times people to come down here and say we're mean, we're lonely, and yeah. But anyway, sorry.
Yeah, I started something in 2017 called Weave, the Social Fabric Project. And we meet with people we call weavers, who are community builders. We just go into towns and say, who's trusted here? They're easy to find. They're in every community. You know them. We met a lady in Florida where we said she was helping kids across the street after elementary school. And we said to her, do you have time to volunteer in your neighborhood? And she said, no, I have no time. And we said, are you getting paid for this? And she said, no. And we said, well, what are you doing after this? And she said, well, on Thursdays, I take food to the hospital. And we said, well, do you have time to volunteer in your neighborhood? And she said, no, I have no time. Because she didn't see it as volunteering. She saw it as neighboring. And those people are absolutely everywhere. We ran into my wife, who's here. We know a guy in Houston named Pancho Arguelles, who used to run something called the Living Hope Wheelchair Association, would take guys who've suffered construction accidents and have become paralyzed, and he gives them wheelchairs and diapers and catheters so they can live dignified lives. And he trains them to be social workers. So you'll be in a town in Houston and 25 guys in wheelchairs will roll into your neighborhood to help you out. I once said to Pancho, you radiate holiness. And he said, no, I reflect holiness. And those people are everywhere. And we just have to marshal and elevate their power. But second, on a more cosmic level, during COVID, I read a book called The Politics of Disharmony by a political scientist named Samuel Huntington. And he wrote this book in 1981, and he said, every 60 years or so, America seems to go through what he called a moral convulsion. People get disgusted with established power. The social fabric begins to fray. A highly moralistic generation comes on the scene. There's a new kind of communications technology. And he said this happened in the 1770s with the Revolutionary period. It happened in the 1830s with Andrew Jackson. It happened in the 1890s with the Industrial Revolution. It happened in the 1960s with the assassinations. In 1971, there were 4,000 bombings on college campuses. These periods of moral convulsion are brutal to live through. And so in this book, he writes in 1981, he said, I don't know if this 60-year cycle will maintain, but if it does, sometime around 2020, America will go through another moral convulsion. I was like, pretty good call. And so we went through it. But the good news is we come out of it. We are an ingenious people, and when we have these cultures where we have a culture, and it works for us, but it stops working, so we have to chop it up. And those chop-up periods are just hard to live through. We're in the middle of one. But we create a new culture that's going to work for us.